I'm Dr. Kori Propst here with Dr. Joe Klemczewski. Welcome to the Diet Doc Life Mastery podcast. We're in the second segment of our macro mastery piece. And we're talking, Joe, yesterday we talked about planned higher calorie days.
Mm-hmm.
Today we're going to talk about how to plan them.
Right.
For different things like performance, events.
Absolutely. So
as I have fun doing this with my clients. And
yeah, a lot of people forget how important the actual mechanics are of meal planning. And so talking to a friend of mine and how we've even cycled back and forth as a company now that we're in our 26th year of existence. Back in the day, we would tell people, it's all about macronutrient, based dieting. It's all flexible dieting. And so I don't want to do a meal plan with you. A meal plan makes you codependent. It makes you, all these things. And that helped, grow this entire industry in that direction. And now because people have been hit so hard with the social media age, the information age, people are retreating back into wanting and needing more structure. So now we're spending more time saying, okay, let's start a couple steps back here. We'll do some meal planning with you. Then we can add layers of flexibility as we go. But even something as innocuous, if somebody thinks in terms of that with a higher calorie day, there are really a lot of options. And there's a lot of different ways that you can plan a higher calorie day if it's just for some fun, if it's for social events, like you said, or especially if your goal is performance, if you're trying to get the most out of your nutrition for body composition or physique change.
Well, let's start with something super simple, if you're okay with that, because we're just
Absolutely.
coming out of the holidays and a couple really special days where people, they went into them knowing that they were probably going to be eating higher calories that day. So if we were to take everyone back and help them plan out how they're going to do that, what would it look like?
So I do see a big difference because we talked about, pre-Thanksgiving and all that. And so you've got this entire holiday built around food. And we've got enough content there, I think. But just your normal routine, once a week or twice a week, higher calorie day, what would that look like? And if somebody was just going through what I would call the core phase of dieting, where you're just grinding through, pound after pound of body fat, week after week, and you're going to have regular intervals of higher calorie days, certainly make it fun, make it something you look forward to. Even if you don't have a social occasion that week, think about it and anticipate, hey, what would I really like this week? Since I've been so good dieting, I've been exercising so much discipline, maybe I want pancakes this week, or maybe I want a burger. Really look into that. Start, doing some of the math and deciding for that particular meal you want, how you could make it the best. I'm a stickler for quality if I'm going to go for that indulgent meal. So, why would I say, hey, it's my high calorie day, I just want to get 3 boxes of 29-cent macaroni and cheese, go somewhere and enjoy something and give yourself that reward.
Yeah. I reference this client a lot, but I remember so vividly, and this is when I was still living in Evansville, Joe, she was super successful. Every single week, her favorite food was Mexican food. Every single week on Saturday night with her boyfriend, they would go out to the Mexican restaurant and she would get a wet burrito. And every week, she just loved that. I'm a little bit different, but I also don't necessarily plan it out a week ahead of time, because what if I don't feel like that then? You know what I mean? So I will plan the higher calorie day into my plan, but I won't actually plan the food. It's kind of I'm going to wait until that evening and see what actually sounds good to me based on what I ate throughout the rest of the week.
Yeah, as a coach, I encourage people to get into the head of each individual client and a lot of clients that this whole process of macronutrient tracking may be new, they're not ready for even the kind of flexibility you're describing and intuition. They really need, oh, my high calorie day is this day. What am I going to do? I have no idea. I can't wait and then try and make a decision on the fly. That's going to be too stressful. So everybody's going to be different here. And I think you can certainly evolve as you're moving that direction. Mm-hmm. But, one of the things that I want to spend a lot of time talking about today is on the performance side, because this is where people who do have those body composition goals can really make some better progress, some better gains if they pay attention to how, what, and when they're adding these calories. So, first of all, consider what those goals are. Number one, are you just trying to lose body fat and, of course, look your best? Or are you really trying to also consistently gain lean body mass, push yourself as far as you can that way? And I think most people would say both. I want all of that. Anything I can do to
all the gains.
all of them.
Except the fat.
So, if one of the things that I hope everybody knows from our podcast already is that the pre and post workout meals are paramount. So even if you're in a pretty steep calorie deficit, you should be creating those pre and post workout meals so that for that hour or 90 minutes of your day, your body's not really in a calorie deficit. You're providing what you need energy-wise for that workout and then for recovery. And that's what I want to focus on right here. So for maximum gains, if you're dieting or if you're in the off season and maybe you're just kind of maintaining or you're okay even gaining some body fat a little bit, then I think you've got a couple different big options. Number one, if you are in a calorie deficit, I would use a higher calorie day, kind of split to make sure I'm having that best workout. So maybe a little pre-workout, maybe some post-workout. So you can have that, bigger meal in that post-workout, but definitely make sure you're still fueling a great workout. And then for the next couple of days, because you are increasing your glycogen stores, you're going to have a tailing effect of even better workouts for the days after that. But I have one nuance I did want to throw out there, and then I'll let you kind of sift through this, Kori, and we can make more sense of it. Imagine somebody who's just in kind of a maintenance phase. They're not necessarily trying to lose weight, but they really want the most impact from these higher calorie meals or days.
Yep.
I think we can prove this with some of the research out there, nutrient timing, but you have to be a little bit patient. If you have enough food, because you're not in a calorie deficit, and you have a good solid pre-workout meal, you have to understand that when you're depleted from a hard workout, that's where you can really get the most use from a higher calorie meal, because that's when you're going to be using insulin as your friend to drive nutrients into that newly worked out muscle tissue. Right. And you just get more of an anabolic effect that's cumulative. So I know a lot of people have been talking about how nutrient timing in the anabolic window post-workout may not be as important as we thought, but I'm still convinced that the original research shows it's significant enough that if you want your best progress, that's a place to do it. So
psychologically too, it would also seem to be an awesome place because you're usually really hungry. And you're going to enjoy that meal a lot, as opposed to putting it somewhere where you're like, okay, here would be a good spot because I can, rather than, oh man, yeah, this sounds really good and it's optimal for my physiology. I'm going to really enjoy this.
I will give you a great example of what you just said for my workout yesterday, and then going all the way back, 15 or so years ago when I was just really ramping up into my bodybuilding career. So yesterday was my heavy deadlift day, favorite workout of my cycle. I've got a pretty complicated 16-week cycle I'm training through right now. And so I am really focused on adding weight. And throughout this whole pathway through this cycle, I've been doing that. I've been adding about 25 pounds to my deadlift every single deadlifting session in regaining some strength. And yesterday was one of those days where it's like, wow, I don't think this is going to happen. Like, I am definitely not feeling as strong as I was last time, but I just gutted my way through it. I took the time between sets I needed, and I ended up with an unbelievable final rep. So I did increase by 25 pounds like I wanted. So I knew what that was like for my body as far as taxing my physiology. Yeah. So I immediately had a protein shake. I went home because I work out at the end of the day, and I had 2 cups of rice as my carb intake, very clean carbs, but I'm like, I know this is the point in my day, in my week, in my training cycle where I can maximize those carbs. Like, this is going to make that training session way more impactful if I can do that. So now carry that over to an actual indulgent higher calorie meal. What if I had 200 grams of carbs, or even 50 grams of fat? I had a double burger and fries or something like that, because that was my higher calorie meal for the week. When I was in my best trajectory of gaining lean body mass and strength as a pro bodybuilder, even before that, that was my protocol. Whatever I was prioritizing, whether it was squats or deadlifts, that big meal of the week was immediately after that training session. If I just squatted 500 pounds, I was at the kitchen table 30 minutes later for that high meal for the day, for the week.
I have always fared best that way as well. And I do have some clients who I recommend them putting it prior to the day before that big lift that they're going for. And they prefer that because they have that stored glycogen that they can use. But I'm on board with where you're at too. Personally, that post-workout meal I am so depleted, and I'm like, oh yeah, it needs to happen right now.
Yeah, and what you just said about having a prior, that is valid, especially in a calorie deficit. If you feel pretty depleted, we know it takes 24 to 48 hours to synthesize glycogen fully. You can get a little bit more the day before, just as I would, have a runner or somebody with an event do. You can definitely be stair-stepping your glycogen up. But once you've had that massive depletion from an amazing workout, you're training hard, that's your pinnacle workout for the week, that is a great place to reload and really get that insulin response for just, storing those nutrients back in the muscle tissue.
Yeah. So in terms of the how, Joe, did you want to talk a little bit about what food items would be best?
Yes.
So let's use your example in terms of that post-workout optimal meal. What would that look like? You used rice.
Yeah. So a lot of people have hit in the last couple of years, fat, where they say, well, don't eat fat because that just slows down your digestion and you want, glucose to get into the bloodstream faster. But I mean, as soon as something's hitting your stomach, you're going to start getting stuff through the pyloric sphincter into the small intestine, and you are going to start getting that increase of amino acid and glucose. So I'm okay with some fat, but that doesn't necessarily mean you have to do that. If you're eating all clean foods and you're still in that calorie deficit, so your higher calorie days aren't that indulgent, then absolutely. I do think it's a place where you can warrant some higher glycemic carbs. We just happen to have a bunch of rice in the fridge. That's why I use that. Or it might have been a big bowl of shredded wheat or something else. But if I had lasagna or something heavier, I still would have had a meal right there. It's just with clean carbs like that, I was able to eat more. And like I said, and not have to worry about body fat. This was not an indulgent meal for me. It was just a Thursday night. Right. So for me, it was a time to just get a lot of good, clean carbs in and maximize that recovery.
So you know your body well. You had a protein shake right immediately after your session. And then what was it, like an hour later, you had 2 cups of rice. Anything with the rice?
Probably about 30 minutes later.
Okay.
So, no, because I had that protein, I knew I didn't need any more protein right then. I could have another, snack later on in the night. So I just knew I didn't need more right there. I had my protein immediately after, the carbs after that, and then I was good for several hours.
Cool.
So guys, I just wanted to have this little mini series on planned higher carb days, why, those are important, and then planning how to do that, especially for performance, because I think some of these details, as Kori and I just mentioned, often get glossed over with people who are proponents of flexible dieting and increasing our own autonomy with nutrition. But yet there are still some standards and principles that just flat out work. And I think the more you know how to use those and experiment, you're just going to have the best of both worlds, the best for body composition goals as well as training and performance.
Cool. I have more things that I could say, Joe, but maybe we should save them.
Yeah, we'll keep the ball rolling for next time.
All right, awesome.
All right, thank you guys. And we're going to be digging in now to probably some motivational mastery with psychologist Kori Propst here soon, and more fitness entrepreneurship. And we got to get somebody in the coaching clinic, Kori. We haven't interviewed a coach in a long time. We got to create a little lineup for 2019.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good.
All right, guys, we will catch you next time.
Thanks, guys.